Well, here it is. Another dumb video about me. And this one's a very special case because this one is so weird. It's hard to describe, but you're gonna see what I mean when I get into it. But if you want to know, yes, it does keep true to a pattern of all rant videos about me, and a pattern is that it's all just stuff they made up. So let's get into this because it's very, very weird.
So the conversation begins with him asking for feedback on the logo he uses for his site, and you can see immediately he gets defensive about it and he starts getting downvoted. So I call him out on being defensive, and of course he gets defensive about being defensive.
I'm already so done with this because it's basically saying that me explaining something is being defensive, and then me explaining that it's not being defensive, it's me explaining something is in itself defensive. Just wow done. Like, honestly, how on earth do you want to, like, try and see anything from the other side of this whole drama, war, whatever you want to call it, if you just gotta dismiss everything as just being defensive? It's so dumb, especially since it's not being defensive. It's literally just explaining something.
The first conversation is around everyone is not being defensive, he's just getting better feedback from people. He's asking follow-up questions.
Yes, because that's how, that's kind of the best way to kind of get feedback, If someone just says something that's kind of generic or whatever, or you want them to elaborate, what's bad about wanting someone to elaborate on something? You make it sound like it's a bad thing, even though it literally isn't. And that's kind of important because, again, with my channel's context and all of the weird stuff that's going on with it has, like, a really deep context about it. So I definitely, like, don't blame people for, just saying something that doesn't really suit my channel. So that's why I ask them to, maybe elaborate on something. Simple.
And when people perceive that, they start getting upset. His response to that is that he doesn't care. It's not his fault. It's everyone else's fault for getting upset, not his own.
I absolutely love the way he phrases it because it's going to be a repeating theme in this video. He's going to phrase everything in such a way to make me sound like this awful person. It's just, I don't know how anyone could even fall for this kind of trickery, but I don't know. It's so funny. But let me say this. If someone gets physically annoyed about someone asking for feedback, then it's kind of your fault. Because, I don't know if you know, but asking for feedback is kind of a normal thing. Lots of people do it.
He's just trying to get good advice. He said, it's just pixels on a screen. I asked him, don't you care that you're hurting people because of this?
I just love the way he phrases this again. It's just like me asking for feedback, or even more specifically, people getting, like, angry or upset about it. It makes it sound like I'm hurting them. It's like I'm purposefully being a mean, rude person. It's amazing. It just amazes me how just far-reached all of this is. And I'm hoping no one falls for this, but just in case, you have this video explaining all of it and how it's, again, just a big lie. But don't worry, it gets even better.
Because of your actions, people are getting hurt, and he doesn't care. He only cares about getting what he wants. He only cares about getting that good feedback. He only cares about making his YouTube channel grow. It doesn't care about who he hurts in the process. As long as he gets what he wants, he doesn't care about anyone else.
So you know what I said earlier about literally just making me sound like the worst person ever from nothing? Well, there you go. Because of something I responded to him on Reddit, he claims I don't care about others. It's just about if I get what I want. Like, what? Please don't tell me people are actually falling for this. Literally everything here is so far-fetched. It's insane. He just extrapolates something tiny that doesn't show I'm a bad person and just makes it sound like I'm a bad person. It's insane.
Oh, okay, I thought I'd switch tactics. I
love how he includes this screenshot because, if anything, it just shows how crazy he's getting in this section. Just look at that last part. You're biting strangers, so you need to be muzzled. Just for now. Just temporarily. We'll work on you long-term training in the meantime. Like, there's 1,001 words you can describe that, condescending, arrogant, misinformed, almost trolling to a point, and just disregarding facts in general, and he just puts that there. So I'm hoping just from the screenshot alone, you see what kind of person I have to deal with. Because, yeah, they are very strange.
He said it would be, quote, handing the victory to you.
Are you ready for this? Because, yep, you guessed it, more far-fetched stuff that are as far away from reality as you can get.
And admitting to being in the wrong. This reveals a lot. This is the second red flag where he evidently sees accepting advice as a difference between being victorious and being defeated. He sees things in terms of winning or losing.
No! I take advice all the time. It's never about being in the right or the wrong. I don't feel like I'm in the wrong if I take advice. That's just not true. And yet he presents that as a fact from that statement. He completely either just misunderstood it, or he understood it and just chucked it away to make his own point that counters me. If you were paying attention, or you weren't trying to purposely spin it to make me sound like a bad person, then you would know that I was saying that it will be handing a victory over to you if I all of a sudden change my tactics. It's not about feedback or advice. That's not... I take it all the time. I never see it as a victory. Yet he just somehow extrapolates that from this, even though it doesn't mean it at all. And again, it's something you see for this whole video.
It's a matter of pride for Avrona. He would rather win and not take advice than be defeated and admit that he was wrong or that he could improve on something. He cares more about winning than he does about making improvements for his logo or for his YouTube channel.
I mean, if I didn't care about making better content, then why would I even go to things like VidCon? You can see my past right there. I went to VidCon London recently. By the way, vlog should come soon. Maybe, hopefully. And that was a really expensive trip. Going to London, the creator pass, it's all very expensive. You think I would use all that money if I didn't want to make my channel better?
So that's why he's so resistant to taking advice. It's a matter of pride and it's about winning.
No, it's not. It's never about that. It just annoys me how far-fetched everything is. That quote didn't mean that at all. And you know that, unless anything you see gets almost warped into being this bad thing against me. It's like he can't see any redeeming qualities in me whatsoever.
It's not about being a better content creator, a better YouTuber, it's about winning. He even said that given the choice between continuing on his current path and continuing to get banned from subreddits, he would rather get banned than to, quote, kneel down to me, which would be to take my advice. He sees that as kneeling down, and he would rather risk getting banned than to take my advice.
Taking your advice because it's dumb and it actually doesn't apply to reality. Taking advice is not kneeling down.
Needing to kind of unpack this and see the reasons behind that. There's a lot in there that is very worrying, and it's a huge red flag for anybody who has this sort of mindset.
The mindset of wanting to make better content and looking around for advice on how to make said better content?
He only says thank you to people who actually help. So he has his own criteria for who deserves a thank you or not. And we can see in the other post that he's made, his criteria for saying thank you is it has to be new.
I love this because, again, it's literally none of it is true. First of all, he's mixing up literally two different things. Saying thank you, which he kind of used to try and, again, paint me as this like mean, bad person who doesn't like respect other people. I mean, like, I do, but I'm not sure how asking someone to elaborate on something instead is just all of a sudden making me a bad person. But like I said, he's mixing up that with another thing called Lambda, which is like this thing on this one subreddit where basically if you go around and post stuff, like if you post advice for other people, then they can reward you with Lambda. And the same way, if they give advice to you, you can reward them with Lambda. And he basically says that I have this criteria for saying thank you, Lassiter, even though no, it's for giving out Lambda. Because again, if I just like, gave Lambda for anything, not ask them to elaborate, not do anything, then of course they would like not actually fully help and give more elaborate feedback. Especially since you need the Lambda to actually ask for feedback yourself, then essentially seeing the reality of how people are. Most people, once they're going to receive the lambda, they don't care. They have no stakes in helping you anymore. They got what they wanted. They're gonna be off. You know, they have less of an obligation then to stay around and help you.
That criteria that you have is only for you. Everyone else has their own criteria that they share with everyone else. It's a social norm. It's a social code that everyone else but Avrona adheres to.
Yes, and I follow the quote-unquote social code of the world. I'm not sure what makes you think otherwise. Again, I love how you just claim all that stuff and not actually give proper evidence.
And he's been told the rules. He's been told the rules about this social code.
Yeah, isn't that, you know, something you get taught kind of in primary school?
A post he made where he was trying to justify himself in that all the bans he had received weren't his fault and were actually everyone else's problem. So there's the link to that thread in the description. I encourage you to go through and read it and see for yourself what Avrona's mindset is regarding social norms.
He makes it sound like it's a win for him, even though, literally, go look over that post. You're going to see that it's literally me explaining how it's not about, like, having some bad... It's not me having a bad mindset or anything. I love how clueless or blind he is, or just pretending that, like, it almost makes it sound like he thinks you as an audience are dumb and not going to look any further, even though that post literally goes through me explaining and giving evidence, and also includes other people's stories of how these things happen, to them, even though they may not be fully at fault. It's just...
He's saying that he alone is right and the entire rest of society is wrong.
No, I didn't. Stop making stuff up. Again, I'm gonna say that probably a lot in this video, and I really have in one form or another.
That is a gigantic red flag.
Yeah, it would be, if it was true.
So let's review our 3 red flags here. The first is, he doesn't care about who he hurts.
Which is, again, false.
The second is that he sees accepting advice as being defeated, and he's not really trying to grow, he's just trying to win, he's just trying to gain victory.
Which is, again, false.
The third red flag is that he refuses to conform to social norms around saying please and thank you.
And again, false. Well done, you got 0 out of 3. Try again next time. Maybe finally you find something to actually nail me down on. Maybe one day you actually make a proper argument that's based in fact. That would be nice.
And as a result of all these things, bad things keep on happening to Avrona. For example, he gets banned from subreddits and Discord channels. Videos like this continue to get made about him.
Is he just so unself-aware that he literally used this picture? Like, you do realize that by using that picture, you're kind of painting yourself as one of the bullies in the picture? What?
And people just get fed up with him and refuse to help him any further because they see how he acts.
Yeah, I love how he just talks about me in that situation, doesn't talk about the people who are fed up with me and how their actions are totally not defendable. You know, like totally making things up about me, like in previous rant videos and in this one. Spreading misinformation, being toxic, being annoying. I mean, it's amazing how so far these people have been so concentrated on what I do, they for some reason omitted what the other side acts like and where the real issues lie. Besides, even Big Joe made a really good point about this argument.
Avrona is the mosquito, pricking you with the realization that you're not succeeding and you don't know why. Yelling at Avrona is the calamine lotion.
He's just going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results.
Because that's the definition of insanity, blah 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 blah. The story is old as time. Again, if you have actual decent suggestions on what to change or whatever else in any scenario that are actually legitimate, then of course I'll take them.
So let's just briefly go over one more time what we've learned so far.
And there he goes. He just really tries to hammer it home, doesn't he?
Inability to deal with criticism. Non-conformity to social norms. Has no empathy and doesn't care who he hurts as long as he gets what he wants. Views everything as everyone else's fault. Sees it as weakness to take advice. Doesn't want to change despite seeing the negative outcomes of his previous pattern of behavior.
I mean, and apart from all of those things again being incorrect, and him providing no evidence for what is correct, you may see where he's going with that. And yes, it's as ridiculous as you think it is.
Now let me read off these list of symptoms and see if you see any similarities. Having a sense of superiority and strong, unwavering opinions. Not learning from mistakes. Not respecting social norms.
And there we go. You may have guessed it, but yeah, here we go with the mental illness conspiracy theories again. Best thing is that in the last response video I did, I just literally had someone saying about how, you know, I probably don't have people making conspiracy theories about me about having mental illnesses. Well, there you go. Here's your proof. Everyone's happy.
So I think it's unlikely to be autism. Here's another quote. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders says that someone with ASPD...
And now he's even accusing me of ASPD, aka the serial killer syndrome, aka whatever you want to call it. No, I don't have it. Get off your high horse, stop making stuff up, because you know it's not true. You're literally just making stuff from thin air now.
I'm not a behavioral psychologist, I'm not a doctor, so of course don't take this as a official diagnosis. I'm just an armchair, I guess, psychologist reading stuff.
Yeah, definitely don't, because it's all full of lies, based on no actual evidence. If you have any evidence, go ahead. We'll all be really, really glad to see it. Actual evidence of me doing things that align with those symptoms of ASPD or sociopathy or autism or psychopathy or whatever else you're gonna try and accuse me of to make me sound like a bad person.
So you're young, Avrona, you're like, what, 18? I don't know. You have your whole life ahead of you, and very soon, if you aren't doing it already, you're gonna be entering the real adult world with real adult problems.
And this is where things literally get insane. He's just trying to make it sound like there's gonna be this dystopian future waiting for me if I don't change my ways or whatever. Oh... Does he not? What's it? I don't understand what's... Like, I understand, I think the point is of this last part to, again, try to make you worried or whatever. But it's hard to take anything he says seriously, because it's all based on nothing, and it just comes across as a complete lunatic.
The way to avoid all of that is to seek professional help.
And to be honest, seeing how almost neurotic this video is, it makes me curious which one of us actually may need it. And unlike you, I actually have evidence for that. That evidence is this very video, where you just take something small that has nothing to do with anything and make it sound like I'm a bad person. That could be on purpose, just to try and, again, paint me as this public enemy or whatever. And it could just be his strategy and just trying to hope people don't catch on and hope people are like almost dumb enough to fall for it. And if you think that, then, well, again, that may be a whole different problem, but if that's not the case, and you just interpret those tiny things as all of a sudden meaning that I'm a sociopath, then that's a completely different story.
But you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna listen to me. You're gonna call me a liar. You're saying...
Yes, because you are. It's true. It's a fact. There's evidence.
You're gonna say I'm doing this just to hurt you. You're gonna justify yourself. You're gonna blame everyone else but yourself. You're gonna deny everything. You're gonna say that this is just some conspiracy, that I'm just out to get you. That's what you're going to do.
This is great because now he kind of just... It almost sounds like a checklist of things he's accusing me of. It's like everything just rolled into one. Like, it almost sounds like, here's what I want people to think about you. It almost just makes it sound like he doesn't expect people to do like actual research, and that's kind of the scary part as well. Many people may not do it and they just see this video and all of a sudden think I'm this awful person, but I'm hoping people see the ridiculousness in this video, even with like no prior context to me or anything else. Just his giant leaps in logic should be enough of a red flag.
What you're not going to do is take an online test for personality disorders.
Why would I not do a thing that would prove my innocence? Excuse me? Here, I'll do it right now. Okay, so let's get started here. Do you repeatedly lie or trick others for your own gain or pleasure? No, I'm not even not even charismatic enough to do that. So I guess everyone's like really necessary, or people who are like, you know, just being annoying or whatever. So that's like very, very rarely. Do you act impulsively? No, definitely not. Do you fail to plan ahead? No, I even plan out what I want to say to people before I say it, because I'm just like that socially awkward of a person. So do you constantly fail to fulfill work obligations? No. Do you consistently fail to fulfill financial obligations? No. Have you ever engaged in criminal criminal behavior? No, I'm a good boy. Do you find yourself unable to empathize with other people's difficult situations? I mean, most people do, because if you're not going through it yourself, then yes. Especially since like I've been lucky enough not to have too many like bad things happen to me. I'm too boring for that. So, and I don't know. Often, I don't really, because the issue is I don't even like, I guess, talk with people enough for me to really know that. So that's kind of the issue. So I'm just gonna go sometimes often. I'm just gonna go sometimes. Actually. I'm gonna. This doesn't even matter. I'm gonna go often. If you hurt someone else's feelings, do you lack remorse or guilt? Again, no, I'm too socially awkward for that. Are you aggressive? No. Again, too socially awkward for that. And also, I'm literally like a weakling. I'm too much of a weakling to be taken seriously if I'm being aggressive. That's the other problem as well. Do you engage in unnecessary risk-taking or dangerous behaviours with no regard for the safety of self or others? No, I don't really have the opportunities to do so. So. Unless you like consider crossing the rail tracks in some random place in the middle of nowhere, like 2 years ago. Do you consider yourself superior to others? I hate these. It's not like I hate these kind of questions, but no matter how you're gonna answer it, people are gonna get annoyed. Like, for example, when I just see like big YouTubers or whatever get that question in like a quiz or something, and if they like answer, oh, rarely or never, I'm like, dude, you're like famous, you're successful, like what are you doing? Anyone who's like unless they're in a really bad situation, who answers like rarely or never in a kind of situation, I always just assume that they're like trying to be too humble or whatever, and they're just trying to see like more down to earth even when they aren't. But on the other hand, you definitely gonna get people annoyed when you kind of answer like always, because they're just gonna think you're full of yourself. I mean, I'm gonna go sometimes. Just like going off, not going off what people want to answer, I'm just gonna go sometimes. And do you use charm or wit to manipulate others for your own benefit? Again, I'm not even I'm charming or witty enough to do that. Okay, please enter text above to prove you're human. What? Maybe I'm not human then. There we go. And to no surprise to anyone, go on, load. There we go. Your score, little to no low indication of antisocial personality disorder. Just what I thought. Just what everyone who's normal and doesn't have these conspiracy theories about me thought. There we go. Now let's get back into the show. Like, I understand what's the argument he's trying to make here, and that's what makes it even more concerning, because it makes it sound like he's so confident in his diagnosis. It makes it sound like I wouldn't want to do a test because I know the test would be incriminating. Even though it's not. So it's only, again, it's concerning how deeply he believes that almost. And then he goes on ranting about something I don't even know. It just goes insane. So the one thing I was like curious about is what exactly is the purpose of this video? Why did he want to make it? And why exactly does he want to paint me as this bad person, either intentionally or unintentionally? Coming back to something I said earlier about no one commenting on how you just cannot defend the actions of the other side of this argument. Wow, he was actually just throwing this accusation of being a sociopath at me so often. Like, he's literally so engrossed in that theory that he actually had people just tell him to just go away because he's getting annoying. He's well done on trying to prove a point that your side of this argument isn't the problem here, you know? And then, when he was actually asked, what is the purpose of all of this? This is where it gets very interesting, because he said it's just, well, for fun. So, was that the whole video? Was the whole video just a troll? Like, it makes it seem like it. Like, there we go. There's the answer. We don't have to listen to anything he said because he wasn't serious. but it's still almost concerning. And if it's like not a troll, then like what is his like end game, and how does it fit in with him just trying to have like fun, as he said? And the best part is that he somehow finds this whole situation funny, while he has the audacity to call me the sociopath. That's just beautiful. And even the more ironic thing about it is how dedicated he is. He's literally like a stalker of me online. He going into Discord servers and going all over my Reddit, going deep down into all my posts on Reddit and everything, just to find something, anything, to try and fit his narrative. So this is avrona from the future, just to add something I've kind of forgot to talk about in the video, and that's also kind of concerning almost, relating to why he could have made this video. And that's these weird comments he left on one of my videos. I believe it's my last response video, and it along with the fact that he's been trying to really promote this video everywhere, unlike his previous video he did about me, it just makes it, I don't know, I don't want to believe it's all because of something so petty like wanting to have a response video made about you, but it's kind of hard not to at least think that's a possibility, just judging by everything that's going on here. It's all just so bizarre. Like, literally, who says things like this? So I guess I'll just leave it there. I'm tired of this. Maybe one day these people will finally learn and stop making stuff up, because it's getting tiring, and you know, I have to just make these videos just to, you know, clear up all the misinformation as usual. And it just kind of reeks of desperation at this point, that they're just reaching that far down to find anything to pinpoint me down on, and to actually make me fit their narrative of being this bad person. And all I can say is, well, good luck. Not now, but maybe in the future you'll make an actually convincing argument on something to pin me down on, or whatever else you want to do. I don't know what your end goal of this is, but hopefully with tools like this video, people won't be falling for that anytime soon.